I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching the Apothecary Diaries Season 1, Episode 11. I'm excited. Last episode we learned that Dr. Luamin was in the Rear Palace at a certain point in time. Who is Dr. Luamin but Mao Mao's dad? Oh my god.
An overqualified doctor, an ex-eunuch that has a limp.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances?
Alright, you ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Some very different drink choices here.
I need Apothecary Diaries figures or like merch. I feel like it'd make some really good merch.
Just like a giant Mao Mao statue.
I was thinking like Goshen, but that works too.
Oh, okay. So, what do we do with this information?
Reducing 2 to 1.
直接お届けするようにと。アードー様は茶会に出ているのだけど。フォンミン様にお話ししたい。
Oh shit.
What's in the box? Oh. Why did we give her a knife?
整理されている。ということはや。
That looks so good.
The honey.
察しがいいのね。大掃除は表向きの理由ですね。新年の挨拶とともに新しい上級妃を迎えるためにアードー妃はこの宮を去らねばならない。出産時に何があったのですか？あなたには関係のない話じゃなくて。出産の場にいたのは私の父。不幸なのはその頃東宮妃だったアードー妃の出産が時の皇后の出産と時期が重なったことでしょうか。いかんはまだ戻ってこれないの？
For the actual birth?
アードー様、アードー様、大丈夫です。フォンミンがおそばにおります。
She was without the doctor for the actual birth,
出産は後回しにされた。
which is not good.
その時ですね。アードー妃が子宮を失ったの。
Wow.
フォンミン様は責任を感じているのではないですか。当時出産後の体調が芳しくないアードー妃に代わって赤子のお世話をしていたのはあなたのはずです。アードー様を助けることもできなかったヤブの娘なのに。赤子の死因はこの間の毒おしろい事件と同じだと思われていますが、それは違いますよね。
Holy
あ
shit.
なたの言うそのヤブ医者はおしろいを使うのを禁じてたはずです。本当の死因はこれです。鼻の中には毒のあるものも多い。でもあなたは知らなかった。毒を含まないただの蜂蜜が需要にいいと与えていた薬が赤子にとって毒になること。
Li Shu and Honey is a kid.
いつもすまない、フォンミン。いいえ、アードー様はお体を休めて早く。
Holy.
そして
Lost
ア
her
ードー妃の子は生き
uterus.
絶える。それからあなたは偶然にもアードー妃の子の死因を知ることとなる。ある人物が蜂蜜は赤子にとっては毒になると教えたんですね。アードー妃だけには知られたくなかった。自分が唯一の子を殺した原因だと。だから消そうと考えた。
Try to eliminate Li Shu.
リーシュ妃です。選定の時代。
Listen to the score.
年上の嫁であるアードー妃に懐いていた。
They were close.
親元から離れた幼い娘ともう子供を持つことのできない女性。
We put distance between them?
アードー妃にそれを聞かせないためにリーシュ妃をザクロ宮から追い返すようになった。やめて。
That's why she doesn't
That's
like
so
you.
fucked up.
フォンミン様は安堵されたでしょうね。しかし
Quite the conjecture, huh?
思われたリーシュ妃は再び高級に現れ、
She's just silently listening to it all.
同じ上級妃としてずうずうしくもその小娘は母親を求めるように何度もアードー妃に会いに来ようとする。
As if trying to be with her
大目ないアー
mother.
ドー妃の立場を守るため、そして蜂蜜の剣を隠すために
Jesus
あ
Christ.
なたはリーシュ妃のスープに毒を入れた。欲しいものは何？そんなものはありません。 何でもいいのよ。そんなの意味がないことをご自分で分かっているでしょう。ねえ、あなたは一番大切な人の一番大切なものってわかる？この方以外に仕えるべき人はいないと感じていたわ。アードー様を心から尊敬していた。親の言うことを聞き、言われるがままに次女になった私と比べてどれほど衝撃を受けたことか。
That admiration.
なのに私はアードー様の一番大切な
Most
も
precious to
の
her with my
を
own
この
life.
手で奪ってしまったのよ。
You
ア
took
ードー様
away.
が玉のように大切にしてきた赤子をこの手で。皆が気に病む必要はない。子供は7つになるまでわからないものだ。少しの病気でコロリと死んでしまう。
Look at her face.
アードー様が毎夜泣き明かしていること、私は知っていたのに。この16年間、どのような思いで使
For
えて
the
いたのだろう。
past 16 years.
伴侶を持つこともなく、ひたすらアードー妃のために。わからない、私には。そこまで
I
他
don't
人
even
を
have
大
it in
切
my
に
heart
思
to
える
keep
心
someone
が
so
ない。
close.
何があろうと極刑は逃れられない。賢い彼女には全てが分かっているはずだ。私にできるのは2つあった動機を1つにすることだけです。結果は変わりません。それでもよろしければ受け入れてください。せめて着替えるか。もしものために油紙を重ねて
Wow.
Just in case. Oh my.
切られたら痛いからな。
というわけで、フォンミンが
Do you think Aruo knew?
Maybe.
何か知らないか。フォンミンの動機は、お前の言った通り、アードー妃のため、四夫人の座にとどまれるようにするためだったそうだ。
We completely dropped the baby fact.
しかし、アードー妃は上級妃を降りることが決定している。いや、もともと決まっていた。皇帝の判断だそうだ。
そうですか。
甘いな。
毒ですけどね。死ぬことはないので大丈夫ですよ。
Like that he just did what she was
フォン
doing.
ミンへの提案。リーシュ妃の毒殺、赤子の死の原因。2つの動機を1つにすれば、赤子の死の原因をアードー妃に知られないようにすることはできる。それが何の権力もない小娘にで
As
き
a
る。
girl with no power, that was the best I could do.
They look so fucking similar.
散歩でもするか。
Wasn't Ao Duo sitting on top of that
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of last episode?
フォンミンの処刑は終わった。明日にはアードー妃が高級を去るという。
おや、先客かい？この間、
She's too
手
cool.
伝いに来ていた次女だな。一杯付き合わないか？男のようであろ？
そのように振る舞っているように見えます。
Giving that impression on
I love
purpose.
that line.
正直者だな。息子がこの手からいなくなってからずっと私は
Became
妃
his
ではな
friend.
く皇帝の友人だったんだ。いや、友人に
I
も
Returned
returned to
to being
being
his
his friend.
That's why she's
ま
still
さか
being
妃
given a
になる
nice
なんて
place.
思わなかった。どうしてすがりついていたのだろう。
きっとここにいたのが誰であっても同じ話をしたのだろうな。
水の中は寒かっただろうな。
For the servant?
バカだよな。
そうかもしれません。
みんなバカだ。
そうかもしれません。やはりあの下女は自殺だったのだ。アードー妃はそれに気づいていた。本人は自殺に加担していたのかもしれない。アードー妃に嫌疑がかからぬようにと 冷たい水の中に沈んだ下女。知られたくない秘密を守り、
Wow.
自ら公主台に上がったフォンミン。アード王妃の意志に関わらず、彼女のために命を懸ける者たちがい
Right,
る。
regardless of what she would want.
何をしている？
Oh, I thought he was gonna catch her. I got excited.
誰だよいきなり。
悪かったな。
天使様、なぜここに？
それは俺の方が聞きたい。
Is he a little drunk?
今どきます。話していただけますか？話してください。お酒を飲んでいるのですか？
付き合いだ。仕方ない。家主は俺を先に誘って
Outwell, right?
飲ませるだけ飲ませた挙句どこかへ出かけてしまった。
And just took off.
戻ってきたと思ったらすっきりしたから帰れと追い出された。
このお方をそんな風に扱える人間がこの高級にもいるのだな。でもそれとこれとは関係ない。ベタベタひっつく酔っ払いに付き合っていられない。でも言わずさっさと話せというのは失礼かもしれない。人士様。
もう少しだけだ。少しだけ温めてくれ。
アード王妃は高級を出るため祝妃の証である冠を返す。おお、そうか。誰かに似ていると思ったが人士様のことだったようだ。あの二人服装を入れ替えた方がよっぽど。入れ替える？
The babies. The babies. No.
死んでから
Yeah. Fuck.
同時に生まれたアード王妃の子供と
Why else would he be sad that she
Uh-huh.
wasn't gonna talk to
振り
him?
返られていたとしたら
And that she's leaving.
出産の際にアード王妃は身に染みて分かっただろう。
Which one was her baby?
何をする？まだアール王様が皇后様が優先だ。
当時の皇后のもとに生まれた赤子の方が庇護を受けるということを何が正しいのか判断などできなかったかもしれ
Did
ない。
she facilitate it so
た
that
だその
it would
結
get
果
he would get
己の
care?
息子が助かったのであればこれはアード王妃の本望だっただろう。
Fang Ming poisoned the actual emperor's
子供が
kid?
たのがバレたとする。もしそれが赤子が死んだ後であれば気づかなかった親父が肉刑まで受けたことにも納得がいく。もしそうなら皇帝の弟が今微妙な立場にあることも潔いはずのアード王妃が高級を去らずとどまり続けた理由もわかるが実にくだらないバカバカしいくらいの妄想だ。
Delusion of a story.
孤独な妃に信頼のできる次女がいるということ、それはどれほどの救いになるだろうか。
The taste right now.
その時青年のような凛々しい妃の顔が母親の顔に見えた。
The fact that they've been kept apart. Did you see those clouds?
本
Ominous.
人の一族と関係者の名簿です。
さらわれて売り飛ばされたと聞いていたが。
Okay, that was the Apothecary Diaries Season 1, Episode 11. Holy shit.
I wouldn't even know where I would want to
Can I?
start.
So, I don't know if it's just I've been dealing with a lot recently, so I'm, like, finding my, like, things that resonate with me everywhere. But in terms of Aoduo and Jinchi, right? Everything that Mao Mao was saying, I 1000% believe. And I don't think Jinchi knows. But I think he knows. And coming from somebody who knew their biological mother until they were 13, but didn't know that that person was my biological mother. When I was told that I was adopted and I had met my biological mother before, and that's all that was said. Instantly, seconds later, I was like, is it this person? And they were like, the fuck? Yeah, what? But I swear that, like, that fucking hit me so hard in terms of Jinshi sitting there holding Mao Mao crying, that there's totally the possibility that Jinshi does know and had been told or something, but like the part that's like just hitting me is like more of like a feeling that you have that it transcends logic, and you just feel like there's a connection there with no explanation yet.
Mm-hmm. The fact that the crying comes from him relating to Mao Mao, that he had been sharing a drink with someone, they had left, and when they came back, they said they got what they needed and kicked him out.
That also resonates.
Like, of course, if he has any sense at all, even if he hasn't quite put a name to it, that would, of course, make him feel a feeling of emptiness or abandonment, or a desire for someone to be interested in you, that you aren't useful to them in this moment. Maybe that's why maybe he spent extra time or extra energy trying to be useful to Ao Duo here in this plot line with Fang Ming.
Man. I love this show so much. This was such a great episode. It felt like it flew by.
Felt like a couple episodes in one, if that makes sense, in terms of like how much was happening and like all the different focuses of my emotions in the storytelling. Like, the whole Fang Ming interaction could have been its own episode in itself, to be honest, and then have kind of the aftermath of hearing of her execution, talking to Ao Duo and Jinshi, and then saying goodbye to Ao Duo. She leaves the Rear Palace could have been its own episode. Like,
I think this is up there within my top 3 favorite episodes of the Apothecary Diaries right now. I think that the title, Reducing 2 to 1, is fantastic in terms of Mao Mao telling Feng Ming to reduce, your 2 motives to make it 1.
And what else is that? There were 2 babies, Mao and Mao then there's 1.
Yeah. Like, brilliant title.
The fact that now we know Feng Ming actually killed the actual, like, Emperor's child.
Yeah.
That would have been reducing 3 to 1.
Jesus Christ, man. The score in this series continues to impress me. Every episode, I feel like it gets better and better, which usually doesn't happen, I feel like, in one season of anime.
It's consistently good.
Yeah, but it's consistently, like, new and good. Mm-hmm. Like, they change it up, and it's so original. Also, what they were doing within the tense moments between the conversation of Mao Mao and Feng Ming, like, the framing when they were showing, like, the knife in frame.
Oh, I know.
And the
look on her face.
Still expression from Feng Ming was extraordinary. One of my favorite things, though, is that they were utilizing just shaky cam for a decent amount of that conversation. And it did so well to get over feelings. It was so good. I like that Feng Ming was like, anything. What do you want? Just ask. That seemed like a very unfortunately human response there.
Mm-hmm. And I really liked that right after the knife was shown, there is a almost unspoken conversation and then a line from Mao Mao that's like, that won't help you, or like, we both know that you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Which in the moment interpreted as thinking about harming Mao Mao in this moment isn't going to help you at all. Mao Mao was dressed and ready.
Getting stabbed would hurt.
I was thinking this entire time, I was like, Mao Mao, did you tell anyone that you were coming here? Does anyone know to come look for you? Like, are they pinging your location on their phones right now as you go here? Like, just joking, but like, part of me was like, you are going into an isolated place with another high-standing member of this society of the Rear Palace within another concubine's home, and you are accusing them of literally killing the now emperor's child, and then also trying to kill one of the other concubines.
What do you think is gonna come of Jinshi connecting Mao Mao towards to her dad, seemingly, if that's what they were hinting at the end of the episode? I'm worried about there being conflict once it comes to what Mao Mao, what her actions specifically are, and that they aren't always just telling the truth to Jinshi and doing what Jinshi would deem the best outcome, you know?
Right. To start unpacking that question, because I think that it's probably one of the biggest cliffhanger question marks to leave this episode on, because it is something that throughout even the beginning of us watching Apothecary Diaries, it has always been on the table for us that Mao Mao is not necessarily in a secure and safe position. And especially now that she's becoming relied upon by high-standing members of the society, like concubines and Jinshi. The scene in this episode where she is sucking the nectar out of the flower, and Jinshi comes beside her and does it too, and she says it's poisonous, takes me back to a couple episodes ago when they're standing in front of another reddish plant, and we are talking about, if it comes time to decide how to kill me, I want to die by poison. And him being like, oh no, kind of brushing it off at first, but her being like, I am disposable here, and if I do make a mistake, which I could inevitably make a mistake, you will be the one to decide what happens to me and how that happens. And he shut up at that point. He was like, the gravity of the situation was there and it was understood. And this is a society of the Rear Palace. The culture here is one of gossip and intrigue and superstition. And I don't think that it would necessarily be looked on favorably that she just happens to be taking up the mantle of this almost doctor within the Rear Palace when her own father, the one that trained her, was expelled. It almost sounds like a revenge story. It almost sounds like she came up with a lie, infiltrated, gained the trust of people in order to enact some revenge, and to give her to the concubine that is the most cautious out of all of them, to gain the trust of the concubine that it embodies what a concubine needs to do to survive, is even more so telling of her possible talent at being a criminal, a mischievous, lying, manipulative person in order to enact their revenge. It's a scary picture that is being painted, with him saying, I thought that she was kidnapped and sold. I thought that she was. And he puts down the wood stick, and it has Mao Mao's name on it. That is, and he does not look too happy when he's saying that. So I definitely have some really...
I have anxious feelings. One of the worst things this episode was realizing the keeping of Li Shu apart from Ao Duo. That was tragic. Heartbreaking.
That was
Li Shu has no one, or had no one, right?
Fang Ming had a line in her conversation with Mao Mao. After everything's come to light, Fang Ming kind of moves toward the window, and she brings up the idea of having someone that's precious to you. Do you know what is most precious to them? And Mao Mao, of course, does not have an answer to this question or much to add to it, because Mao Mao is a character, as far as we know, and as far as she has kind of articulated to us right after that, she doesn't really have anyone like that to speak of.
I don't have it in my heart to keep someone so close.
And Fang Ming brings up this idea of how obviously her most precious person is Ao Duo, and that person's most precious person was her child. And Ao Duo's actions from upon finding out that she killed this baby have been both of trying to like preserve herself and the love and affection from Aoduo more so than actually like, as Mao says at the end of the episode, everyone's doing things for Aoduo.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is creating giant actions, suicides, trying to murder people, all for a sake of for Aoduo when they're not even like really getting exactly what she wants to do, or what she wants, or how she feels about things. And we're still keeping secrets from her by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
She doesn't even get to be told that Fang Ming poisoned the baby, even though we know it wasn't really her baby. But it's so interesting to me that this character had it so in her. It was so very selfish, but disguised by being selfless.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to make this up to you and keep you here. Because I don't want you to lose your position, but also I want to be able to stay with you, and I'm atoning for it over the last 16 years. Like Mao brought up, like, what mental state has she been in for the last 16 years?
Yeah. Man, I am trying to think right now, like, how inevitably we could bring back Aoduo in like when that's going to be brought back to us. Because of the exiting.
Well, luckily she's just in, like, what, a South Palace or something? So she's still rather close, which is because she is a trusted friend of the Emperor.
But that's what I was going to point out. Like, that was such a smart, like, inclusion to add in this episode that stood out to me was I was a friend before being a concubine, and then I returned to that afterwards, after I wasn't able to have any more kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that being useful as a device to be able to be brought back into the circle.
But also Li Shu. Like, Li Shu has a relationship with Aoduo.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Aoduo would be allowed to come visit and have tea parties with Li Shu if Li Shu invited her, and I'm sure Li Shu would desire that.
I would love a, like, actual POV inner monologue of Aoduo and her feelings and how she not even justifies, just like her thought process about the interaction she has with Jinshi. You know? Like,
How did she go about swapping them?
I think that's a great point.
And did Mao Mao's father know anything about this? I mean, the observant nature of a Mao Mao who was trained by her father to be so able to kind of see things in details that others cannot. It does open the question of, like, would he have been able to realize that had happened?
Yeah. I just want to know, like, in her mind, like, it was so important that her child was safe regardless, right? And that painted her in a very empathetic, loving mother light. And because of that, I find it so fascinating that even through it now, it does end up resulting in her son crying and weeping to Mao Mao, and like her saying to him, like, you know, like, oh yeah, I'm done with you, whatever. If we're operating under the belief that she thinks that Jinshi has no idea, then it's like, okay, of course this wouldn't upset Jinshi here, right? Just some, like, you know, like, not at all. But Jinshi having a potential inkling or feeling, like there's a reason that he's so emotional. We know that he's good at putting on a face. Yeah.
So, yeah, I would think that she wouldn't think that he'd be aware of it. It's really cool what the show does in terms of, like, intention and misinformation, or, like, the idea that things can be so skewed. Like, is it a suicide? Is it a murder? Did you directly try to harm someone, or was it an accident? Like, we have Aoduo, her direct attempt at saving her child's life by ensuring that they got the most medical attention led to the death of another child. And she has to hold that, which is incredibly interesting, of like you had said earlier in the discussion, wishing to get into her actual internal thoughts and feelings a little bit more. because that would be weighing on me.
I am like, I continue to be dumbfounded by how 11 episodes in, everything's tied together so perfectly. Like, with Li Shu being the bridge with Honey, but also the poisoning, the attempted poisoning of Li Shu from Feng Ming, tied with the entire conversation with Feng Ming, which resulted in the conversation with Ao Duo after climbing up the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which, like, everything is so perfectly, like, I don't know, flowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, like, it's so connected.
And Mao Mao is the most amazing character to be following in this. As she says and identifies in herself, she has an amazing awareness of herself in this episode, from the I don't have it in my heart to keep someone so close line, to the fact that she says in this episode that was the best that she could do with no power.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what a great line.
What she offered to Feng Ming in order to, like, give Feng Ming that amount of, like, you can have something out of this go your way or make it easier for you to step up and be executed.
Yeah.
The fact that she identifies that she has so little power, but there are still some things that she can do to maybe ease some things or make some people happy.
I'm wondering if I have any, I feel like you're giving off that impression on purpose. That's what I was looking for. I loved the conversation between Mao Mao and Ao Duo on the wall. And I love that, she's chugging and Mao Mao makes the observation of, like, not even, I think Mao Mao makes the observation that Ao Duo is pretty masculine, and then is like, but that's what she wants me to think, so I'm not going to say anything. And then Ao Duo's, like, drinking and is like, normally somebody would butt in here and tell me that I'm masculine, so the next thing I'm going to say is pretty masculine, aren't I? And I love Mao Mao speaking her mind. I feel like you're giving off that impression on purpose. Everything seems so human. The thought processes seem so human.
I'd agree with that. If this does turn out to be a romance between Mao Mao and Jinshi at the end of the line, we get to think back with the fact that she sat on a wall looking at the moon, drinking with his mom. Okay. And his mom got something out of that conversation and probably has a favorable feelings towards Mao Mao. My romance brain. And then obviously we got to talk about Mao Mao's descent from the wall.
Yeah.
In just purely the action. Obviously we got into, like, the Jinshi's emotions and the crying into her. But when she was like, when I heard his voice, I was like, she's gonna fall and he's either gonna catch her.
I thought it didn't happen.
And I thought it didn't happen, but it was even better than that, because it was the classic, oh no, wait, where are you? Where'd that voice come from? Oh, I landed on you. Oops. Like, so good. And then he didn't want her to go yet.
It was cool that Mao Mao, like agreed to stay after seeing, like, that he wasn't being fucking weird. like he just needed it.
It was something that he needed.
Yeah.
The best that she can do with no power.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I am scared, though. I feel like I just was talking about things that make me happy, and then in a roundabout way I got back to the scared feelings that I have from the end of the episode.
I think everything will be fine.
In the long run, yeah, maybe. But in the immediate future in this story, I am nervous.
I feel like there's gonna be yelling soon.
Yelling?
Yeah.
Like a temper, like, changing.
I'm not saying this would be the yelling, but in a heated conversation between Jinshi and Mao Mao, where Jinshi is calling out the bullshit that Mao Mao is, like, spitting of, like, I'm telling you 75% of the truth, but I'm keeping the 25 to myself. I could imagine that be very frustrating to talk to, but very entertaining and a dynamic.
Right. I mean, we already kind of saw a glimpse of him starting to, like, when she was giving her report about her conversation with Feng Ming, it did seem like he was a little bit skeptical that he was being told the entire truth there.
Love the show.
Love it.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.